90-Day Fiancé world shook violently the moment Darcey Silva, queen of reinvention and heartbreak, dropped the line no fan expected to hear. Georgi just disappeared. I don't know where he went. I don't know what he wants. Social media exploded. Reddit lit up like a bonfire. TLC's cameras scrambled in the background, producers practically sprinting after her as she stormed across the lobby of her favorite Miami hotel. Because when Darcey says she doesn't know what happened, what she really means is something massive broke behind the scenes. But what fans didn't know not until now was that Georgi Rusev hadn't abandoned her at all. He had done the unthinkable. He had issued an ultimatum. Not the type of ultimatum viewers were used to. Not a pick me or I'm leaving. Not a marry me or it's over. This was something more explosive, more dramatic, more deeply intertwined with Darcey's fears, insecurities, and the empire she and her twin sister had been building for years. According to a leaked producer memo, Georgi had delivered a chilling message to Darcey right before his disappearance. If you want a future with me, you have to walk away from what's destroying us both. But what did he mean? What was the thing that Darcey had to leave behind? That was the mystery that would consume fans for months. Most viewers assumed the drama erupted suddenly. A fight. A misunderstanding. Something trivial stretched into something permanent. But insiders knew that tension had been simmering since late 2024. Darcey's world was spinning faster than she could control. New business deals, a global rollout for the House of 11 label, influencer partnerships, surgeries, press tours, pop-up fashion events across Miami, New York, Dubai. Darcey lived in motion, but Georgi lived in routine. And the two lifestyles were beginning to collide like tectonic plates. Friends close to the couple revealed that Georgi had grown increasingly frustrated with what he referred to privately as Darcey's camera addiction. He felt she performed for the lens more than for the relationship. She's in love with the story of love, he told an associate. Not the work of love. Meanwhile, Darcey felt Georgi lacked ambition, lacked drive, lacked the fire she wanted in a partner. She wanted a man who would protect her, uplift her, adore her, and match her intensity. Perhaps even worship her. And Georgi worshipped peace. Two forces, diametrically opposed, were moving in slow motion toward a blowout. The night before Georgi vanished, the couple attended a House of 11 VIP rooftop launch party in Miami. Witnesses described the atmosphere as electric, chaotic, and dripping with tension. Darcey, glam as ever, shimmered under camera flashes, all curves, diamonds, and the unmistakable Darcey aura she had perfected over a decade of reality TV. Georgi stayed close at first, smiling politely, nodding during interviews, holding her waist with that protective, almost possessive grip fans had come to recognize. But as the night advanced, something changed. A source present at the event said, Georgi wasn't himself. He kept checking his phone, stepping away, looking irritated. And Darcey? She didn't notice. Or she ignored it. At one point, a producer pulled Darcey aside for a solo interview. She lit up instantly. The camera was her oxygen. Georgi watched from a distance, his face sinking with every minute. A fan who captured a blurry video on her phone recalled. He looked like he was waiting for her to pick him over the cameras. But she never turned around. What no one knew was that Georgi had planned a surprise for her that night. Something emotional, vulnerable, and deeply personal. He had hidden it inside his jacket the entire evening. But she never slowed down long enough for him to give it to her. And that was the moment something inside him snapped. Hours later, in the quiet stillness of their hotel suite, Georgi delivered the ultimatum that would become legendary among 90-Day Fiancé insiders. But the seriousness in his eyes unnerved her. This wasn't the usual Georgi frustration she was used to brushing aside. This wasn't a petty argument about attention or priorities. You say you want love. Real love. But I don't know if you want me, or if you want the version of me that works for television. Instead, she filmed reaction interviews for producers, crying into her makeup and telling them she had no idea what Georgi wanted. 90-Day Fiancé. Few sagas have captivated and confounded audiences quite like the tumultuous romance of Darcey Silva and Georgi Rusev. Their on-again, off-again relationship, chronicled in excruciating detail on the hit TLC franchise and its spin-offs, has been a roller coaster of tearful breakdowns, lavish trips, and explosive arguments. The prevailing narrative has often painted Georgi as a man who repeatedly abandoned Darcey, leaving her heartbroken and questioning her worth. But a deeper, more nuanced examination of their tumultuous timeline suggests a startling twist. What if Georgi Rusev didn't abandon Darcey? What if, instead, he gave her an ultimatum? This is the story of a love affair that was as much a battle of wills as it was a romance. It's a narrative that delves beyond the surface-level drama to explore the complex interplay of insecurity, financial strain, familial interference, and the desperate search for love in the unforgiving glare of reality television. To understand the Georgi Rusev twist, one must dissect the anatomy of their relationship, from its hopeful beginnings to its fiery and frequent implosions. Darcey Silva, a veteran of the 90-Day Fiancé universe, met Georgi Rusev, a handsome Bulgarian model and massage therapist, online. Their initial connection was a beacon of hope for Darcey, who had endured two very public and painful breakups with her previous international beaux, Jesse Meester and Tom Brooks. Georgi, with his quiet demeanor and chiseled features, seemed to be the antidote to her past heartaches. Their relationship escalated quickly, a common theme in the 90-Day franchise. After a year of online communication, they finally met in person in Miami, just before the world was upended by the COVID-19 pandemic. The ensuing lockdown forced them into a pressure cooker situation, as Georgi moved into an apartment in Darcey's home state of Connecticut to be with her. This intense period of togetherness, while initially romantic, laid the groundwork for the cracks that would soon appear. From the outset, Darcey's deep-seated insecurities, born from past betrayals, cast a long shadow over her new romance. She craved constant reassurance and validation, a need that Georgi, a man of fewer words, often struggled to meet. The first sign of trouble emerged with the revelation that Georgi was still legally married, a fact he had not been entirely forthcoming about. Though he explained that he was separated and the divorce was in process, this discovery planted a seed of doubt in Darcey's already fertile ground of suspicion. Despite the early hurdles, Georgi proposed to Darcey, a moment she had long dreamed of. However, the joy of their engagement was short-lived, as the underlying issues in their relationship began to surface with increasing frequency and intensity. One of the most significant and recurring sources of conflict was the influence of Darcey's family and friends. Her twin sister, Stacey, and their close friends were fiercely protective of Darcey and openly skeptical of Georgi's intentions. They questioned his motives, his financial stability, and his commitment to Darcey, creating a constant barrage of external pressure on the couple. During a tense tell-all episode, the family's disapproval was palpable. Stacey expressed her shock that Georgi would choose not to attend the taping in person to support his fiancé. This absence was seen as a major red flag, further fueling the narrative that Georgi was not fully invested in the relationship. Georgi, for his part, expressed frustration with the constant criticism and judgment, telling Darcey over a video call that he was dealing with his own emotional issues and didn't want to face the from Eve Ryan. This clash highlights a central theme in their relationship: Georgi's desire for a partnership that was a united front against the world, and Darcey's struggle to separate her romantic life from her deeply enmeshed family unit. Money was another significant battleground for Darcey and Georgi. Darcey, who enjoys a lavish lifestyle, often found herself at odds with Georgi's more frugal approach. Her friends and family frequently accused Georgi of using Darcey for her money, a suspicion that deeply wounded him. The infamous sock full of cash incident, where Darcey discovered Georgi had a significant amount of money hidden away, became a symbol of their financial distrust. Georgi explained it as a cultural habit of saving, but for Darcey and her circle, it was further evidence of his secrecy and potential ulterior motives. As their relationship progressed, the financial disagreements escalated. In a sneak peek of a 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After episode, Darcey revealed that Georgi was hesitant to pay his half of the rent and that she had to involve her father to get him to contribute. This incident was particularly telling. Darcey lamented, "It's so not okay because I've always been there for him, providing over the years. He doesn't want to disappoint my dad, but he doesn't mind disappointing me." This statement encapsulates the dynamic that Georgi seemed to be pushing back against, a relationship where he felt he was constantly being tested and judged, not just by Darcey, but by her entire family. The concept of Georgi's ultimatum is not one of a single dramatic declaration, but rather a series of actions and statements that, when viewed collectively, suggest a man at the end of his rope. It was a desperate attempt to force a change in the fundamental dynamics of his relationship with Darcey. The core of Georgi's implicit ultimatum appeared to be this: choose me. Choose our relationship. Choose to trust me over the opinions of your family and friends. And choose to build a life with me that is our own, not one that is constantly under the microscope of everyone else. His frustration with the constant interference from Darcey's loved ones was a recurring theme. During arguments, he would often shut down, a communication style that Darcey interpreted as a lack of love and investment. However, an alternative interpretation is that his silence was a form of protest, a withdrawal from a battle he felt he could never win. In an exclusive interview, Georgi addressed the concerns of fans who were protective of Darcey, stating, "I have her back, always going to have her back, and I always going to love her and I'll be there for her." This sentiment, however, seemed to be conditional on her reciprocating that trust and support, something he felt was often lacking. The tell-all no-show can also be viewed through the lens of an ultimatum. By refusing to participate in the public dissection of their relationship, he was, in essence, saying, "I will not subject myself to this anymore. If our relationship is to survive, it cannot be a spectacle for everyone to judge and comment on." The couple's numerous breakups and reconciliations were a direct result of their inability to resolve these fundamental issues. Each time they separated, it seemed to be after a period of intense conflict where the same core problems would resurface. Darcey would feel unsupported and unloved, and Georgi would feel attacked and misunderstood. Their reconciliations were often fueled by a genuine love and affection for each other, a flame that's lit, as Darcey once described it. However, without a fundamental change in their dynamic, they were destined to repeat the same destructive cycle. During one of their splits, Darcey even hired a matchmaker, a clear sign that she was attempting to move on. However, she ultimately rekindled her romance with Georgi, suggesting a deep-seated connection that she couldn't easily let go of. This back and forth only served to heighten the emotional stakes, making each subsequent breakup more painful than the last. A trip to Georgi's home country of Bulgaria on 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, was supposed to be a fresh start for the couple, a chance for Darcey to connect with his roots and for them to build a stronger foundation away from the pressures of their life in the United States. However, the trip quickly devolved into another series of explosive arguments. The same issues that plagued them at home followed them across the Atlantic. Darcey's insecurities flared up as she struggled to fit in with Georgi's family and culture. 13. A major point of contention arose when Georgi revealed his plans to purchase property in Bulgaria without first discussing it with Darcey. Led to a massive fight, with Darcey feeling blindsided and excluded from his future plans. In a heated exchange, Georgi expressed his frustration with Darcey's reactions, explaining that he has a hard time opening up to her because she tends to overreact to little things. This was a moment of raw honesty that shed light on the communication breakdown at the heart of their problems. The trip to Bulgaria, which should have been a bonding experience, instead became a microcosm of their entire relationship, a series of misunderstandings, emotional outbursts, and a fundamental disconnect in their communication styles and expectations. In a surprising turn of events, Darcey and Georgi secretly married in November 2023. This seemingly definitive step, however, did not put an end to the drama. Just a few months after their wedding, Darcey was posting cryptic messages on social media, hinting at a split and declaring, "I'm my own soulmate." This pattern of public declarations of love, followed by equally public displays of turmoil, suggests that the core issues of their relationship were never truly resolved. The marriage, rather than being a solution, may have been a last-ditch effort to salvage a love that was constantly being tested. The narrative of Georgi Rusev simply abandoning Darcey Silva is an oversimplification of a deeply complex and fraught relationship. While his actions at times may have appeared as such, a closer look suggests that they were the desperate maneuvers of a man who felt he was losing a battle on multiple fronts. His ultimatum was not a malicious attempt to control Darcey, but rather a plea for a different kind of partnership. He wanted a relationship where he was trusted, where their financial decisions were made as a team, and where the opinions of outsiders did not hold more weight than their own commitment to each other. Whether Darcey was unable or unwilling to meet these conditions is a matter of perspective. Her own past traumas and insecurities made it difficult for her to fully trust anyone, and her deep bond with her family was a central part of her identity. In the end, the Georgi Rusev twist is not about absolving him of all responsibility. Both parties played a role in the drama that unfolded. However, it is a crucial reframing of the narrative. It suggests that Georgi's departures were not acts of abandonment, but rather the consequences of an ultimatum that was never fully met. It is a reminder that in the world of reality television, the stories we see are often far more complicated than they appear on the surface, and that sometimes a walkout is not an ending, but a final, desperate plea for a new beginning. The saga of Darcey and Georgi is a cautionary tale about the perils of love in the public eye and the enduring power of the unresolved issues that can ultimately tear even the most passionate of Roma. Darcey Silva and Georgi Rusev, known from the spin-off show Darcey and Stacey, reportedly got married on November 11, 2023. Darcey has had a history of toxic relationships, including with Jesse Meester and Tom Brooks. Despite a tumultuous on-and-off engagement, photos have surfaced suggesting that Darcey and Georgi had a wedding ceremony in Connecticut. Darcey Silva and Georgi Rusev from the popular 90-Day Fiancé spin-off Darcey and Stacey reportedly got married on November 11, 2023. Darcey was first seen in 90-Day Fiancé, before the 90 Days Season 1 when she was dating Jesse Meester. Darcey and Jesse turned out to be one of the most toxic 90-Day Fiancé couples, and her relationship with Tom Brooks was no different. Darcey revealed she was dating someone new when she was cast in her own twin-themed spin-off with sister Stacey Silva. Darcey had met massage therapist Georgi online. He was a Bulgarian man who had been living in the US for 10 years. 90-Day Fiancé blogger John Yates has now shared photos from what appears to be Darcey and Georgi's wedding ceremony. As just discussed on my #exclusive YouTube live, these pictures were taken from Darcey and Georgi's alleged wedding on Saturday, he wrote in the caption. As per John Yates, Darcey and Georgi got married in their home in Connecticut. Darcey and Georgi's engagement aired in the Darcey and Stacey Season 1 finale. Georgi proposed to Darcey in June 2020 after 4 months of dating. They broke up, and Georgi popped the question again to Darcey in the Season 3 finale before fans read about Darcey revealing she was single again in March 2022. The ceremony was intimate. Georgi and Darcey apparently only invited 20 people to their wedding. The pictures showed Darcey looking stunning in a fishtail gown with a plunging neckline to show her curves. It had delicate embroidery with rhinestones, while Georgi looked dapper in his classic tuxedo. The couple first sparked rumors of an upcoming wedding in September 2023. Georgi posted and deleted a post captioned, "It's finally happening." He also tagged Darcey in the caption and included, the accompanying picture was of Georgi dressed in a tuxedo. Darcey had responded to the post with several heart emojis in the comments. Georgi was caught ring shopping at Tiffany & Company. In June 2023, he shared the video from inside the store in Dubai and zoomed in on a pair of his and her wedding bands to suggest he was buying them. Georgi told fans that he was ready to put a ring on it but wasn't ready to confirm anything yet. Meanwhile, Georgi also shared a selfie recently to reveal his new look after getting facial fillers in his cheeks, jawline, and lips. If Darcey and Georgi did get married, then he got a makeover just in time for the wedding. The couple was last seen together in Darcey and Stacey Season 4, when they were not together. Darcey wanted to move on. She was also seen dating a man named Zach. There were suspicions that the couple had reconciled off-screen because they were spotted together, even though they were fighting at a Miami restaurant in January 2023. They continued flirting on Instagram, and now that they are allegedly married, pert. 90-Day Fiancé, happily ever after. Sneak peek. Darcey drops bombshell about greedy Georgi. Tap here to add us weekly as a trusted source. Darcey Silva and Georgi Rusev's marriage sure can get a little complicated these days. In Us Weekly's exclusive sneak peek of the Sunday, October 5th, episode of 90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Darcey, 51, shocks her twin sister, Stacey Silva, with an update on her living situation. "It's not been great, just been really trying to tolerate each other," Darcey says when describing her marriage. It's not been easy. After coming home from a visit to Bulgaria, Darcey explained that rent was due. The only problem was that Georgi, 37, appeared hesitant to give his wife half of the payment. He wasn't responding to my messages, she claims. I was trying to communicate about it with him because now he wants half the money back for Bulgaria. While Stacy is visibly shocked by the allegations, Darcey says the finances have put a strain on the relationship. It's so not okay because I've always been there for him providing over the years, she explains. I paid the rent. I paid the bill to pay cable, electric, all that stuff, food going out, whatever, traveling. That's not okay. Just be giving and gracious about it. Although Darcey tries not to get upset, Stacy can't help but share her real feelings on the situation. As she proclaims, greedy, greedy, greedy mother f*********. Wow. In another plot twist, Darcey reveals that she had to put her husband on a group chat with her dad in hopes of getting the rent payment. I had to put Daddy on a group text, just to say, "Hi Georgie, it's Darcey. Can you please pay your share of the rent? It's due today." So he did, Darcey reveals. He actually sent me the money soon after that because he wasn't answering me before that. TLC producers quickly backed up Darcey's sequence of events by showcasing a text believed to be from the reality star. "Hi Georgie, can you please send your share of the rent money if possible?" The text reads, "I would greatly appreciate it. I've been waiting patiently for a while. Thank you for understanding and everything. Love you." So why did Georgie finally agree to pay up? In a confessional interview, Darcey shares her theory as to what got him to ultimately step up. It's a big deal about getting the rent money, and it's kind of embarrassing that I have to include my dad, but I feel like that's the only thing that I could do to, help me kind of nudge him so he can just take action, Darcey explains. Whenever I include my dad in a text message, I feel like he does it right away. He doesn't want to disappoint my dad, but he doesn't mind disappointing me. As for how many times Darcey has had to involve her dad, she replies, I can't count on my hand. But, there's been other instances. It's a big deal.